Imagine a pyramid standing alone by the sea, each side 100 miles long. It's a mountain, nearly 4 miles high. In its folds, imagine every different climate on Earth. This is the Sierra Nevada de Santa Marta. The people hidden here call the Sierra the heart of the world, and themselves the elder brothers.
The Great Mother created the world in water. She makes the future in it. This is how she speaks to us.
We look after nature. We are the mamas and do this here. And we mamas see that you are killing it by what you do. We can no longer repair the world. You must.
You are uprooting the earth, and we are divining to discover how to teach you to stop.
Santa Marta, on the Caribbean coast of Colombia, sits at the mountain's foot. It was founded by the Spanish in 1525. It became a great center of smuggling and contraband. A few years ago, this was the heart of the marijuana trade. In recent years, it has been a base for shipping cocaine to Miami. You can hire an assassin in Santa Marta for $100. Every sunrise reveals another murder. Like any city, Santa Marta's out to make money. Santa Marta would like to be Los Angeles or Miami. It belongs to our world. Once there were Indians here who dressed in gold. They had orchards, fields, and cities. The Tairona civilization vanished, like all Indian civilizations in South America. But it did not die. "400 years ago, they withdrew for safety into the heart of the world. The children of the Taironas still have their cities, their roads, their orchards. And from the hidden folds of the mountain, they have watched our civilization in silence. But now, the descendants of the Taironas have summoned us. This film is their first message for centuries. Most people in Santa Marta have no idea that they're there at all. All they know is that there are some relics left by the Taironas. This is the Tairona National Park, a few miles along the coast. Ancient Indian cities here were abandoned long ago and reclaimed by the forest. It's supposed to be a protected archaeological area. But Indian graveyards here have been turned into open-cast mines by looters. This man is a tomb robber, probing the ground for the feel and the sound of pottery. He's called a huaquero. Huaca is an Indian word for a religious object. Perhaps once a year, an experienced huaquero strikes gold. And if he's exceptionally lucky, he can make £10,000 for his year's effort, which is more than he can earn any other way, except through trading in drugs. A few years ago, the huaqueros formed a tomb robbers union with 10,000 members and asked the government to recognize them officially. They were turned down, and today they protect their rights by more old-fashioned methods. If you want to be shot dead in a hurry, dig a hole near Santa Marta. The law has no power here. These robbers are working in full view of the public.
Bueno, esta es una muestra de ollas que indican el camino y la cal donde va el entierro, donde está el muerto. Posiblemente comprenda o puede ser un indio pobre. El camino sigue aquí.
The path is a finger that sometimes, very rarely, points to gold. We shall see. In 1973, a lone huaquero hacked a path into the dense rainforest. The area was called El Infierno, Hell. But there was a rumor that somewhere in Hell was once a great city rich in gold. He found it. The huaquero had found a monumental ceremonial city. But what was it? How did it die? Today it's known simply as the Lost City. On the sides of the ridge there are huge terraces covering more than 2,000 acres. The wooden thatched houses have gone, but for 3 years tomb robbers pillaged their stone foundations. Unbelievably, it was only 15 miles from Santa Marta. But there were good reasons why it had disappeared.
El nombre del infierno pues fue puesto por lo duro, lo fuerte para venir aquí, para dormir, para cocinar, para todo era muy duro, muy fuerte. Uno pues en ese tiempo era demasiado duro para aportar los alimentos, para cocinar. Había personas que pues se interesaban en venir aquí, llegaban aquí sin alimento. No había material de vegetal, o sea, leña para cocinar.
Eventually, Frankie led the archaeologists into the jungle, and they began to recognize that the civilization that built the lost city was very advanced indeed.
Archaeology actually is just a translation. It's a translation to Western mind of what Indian mind wanted to express. Now, if the question is what the Indian mind wanted to express, building this city, I will say that they wanted to show that it is possible to have a good density of population in a very beautiful environment like this one without destroying it. There is also certain techniques of the Tairona. They were adapting the city perfectly to the topographical condition of the area. They were building these walls in a way that they were not eroded as a result of the running water from the constant and very frequent rains of the area.
If the city did not blend with the powerful forces of nature that shaped this jungle, it would have been broken apart by roots and washed away by rain. But it was abandoned 400 years ago, and it's still there. The paths and stairways carry away the water without damage. And they also link the city into a network of roads covering the whole mountain. The city was too large to support itself. It depended on supplies from other areas of the mountain. The Tairona treated the whole Sierra as a single system. The Sierra is a copy of the whole planet in miniature. At the edge of the sea, it's in the tropics. It's very hot and very lush. "25 miles from the beaches, there are snow peaks. Here, the climate is Arctic, the temperature never rising to zero. Every range of temperature and every range of rainfall. Parts of the Sierra are desert. Other parts are tropical rainforest and mountain cloud forest. Almost every animal and every plant from anywhere in the world can find a home somewhere in the Sierra. Only the birds can leave. Everything else is trapped in the pocket environment that suits it.
They were using the Sierra, not going against the Sierra, see? They were using the Sierra by its climate levels. So people that were allocated in the lower part of the Sierra were people that were fishermen, and these fishermen were the people that were producing the proteins and the salt. And they sent that salt through the roads, paved roads that they were constructing with stones, these marvelous works of engineering, up to the other levels of the Sierra where they were planting different crops. So in the higher parts of the Sierra they were planting cotton, and still higher they were planting corn, maize, and beans as basic protein resources.
The whole Sierra was farmed and structured. Almost every slope has been terraced for planting. And even what seems to be jungle turned out to have been shaped by humans. The balance of different kinds of plants and trees has been shown to be quite different from that of uninhabited jungle. In fact, this is a huge, overgrown Tairona garden. By the roadside, at the entrance to the lost city, there's a carved stone. It seems to be a map of the complete system covering the whole mountain massif. But although there are many ancient roadways, they do not fit the map. The map stone is clearly important, but what is being mapped? There are people who know. The descendants of the Tairona, the Kogi, still live in cities higher in the Sierra. All of the civilizations that flourished in South America were demolished by conquest, except this one. but they do not speak to us, and no Colombian speaks their language. The Kogi do not like strangers walking their roads. They call us, the younger brothers, children who do not understand how to take care of the world.
"300,000 people in the past were able to survive in the Sierra without creating an ecological mess. And today, much fewer settlers are really harming very badly the Sierra."
The Colombian farmers who have invaded the base of the Sierra are creating a spreading cancer of sterile dust. But neither the original conquerors nor modern farmers have ever colonized the higher parts of the Sierra. Missionaries and officials who've tried to take control up here had a long, difficult journey, and when they arrived, they met a passive human wall of resistance. It worked. Even today, this jungle represents a barrier that separates the world of the Kogi from our world. Here there are still towns without the wheel, farmers without the plough, educators without the written word, priests who have the power of government. To learn how the Tairona organized the life of the heart of the world, we would have to go to the Kogi. Everyone said this was impossible. A government official who the Kogis trust climbed the mountain with my letter. A Spanish-speaking Kogi went with her to interpret it. And eventually word came back, the mamas wanted to speak. They said they had a message to give to the world. We would not be allowed to see everything or to learn every secret. We never learned anyone's real name. Everyone is known by a Spanish pseudonym. I was told that I should bring whoever I needed and whatever I needed. That's me, Alan Herrera, with the mule. The Kogi, naturally enough, called me the BBC. Whatever I was there as a messenger for the younger brother.
In the beginning, the Great Mother divided up the earth. She sent you far away, far away, far away. And in this place she put us. Then the younger brother came back again to this side of the world. He came back again. And he started to destroy and he started to kill us. So now you've reached here. The younger brother is at the gate of the elder brother. We would like guards to keep younger brother out, like the beams that held our bridge. Each of these wooden supports is like one of the 9 worlds. They should keep us apart, apart, apart. Yes, they should. We want you blocked from crossing over. We do. Younger brother climbs, and we retreat before him. He has taken our lands below, but the lands above are closed to you. It was said long ago to the younger brother that he should stay in his place over there, but he never listens. Still, he keeps on coming and trying to get in here. So now he must stop, right here. Isn't that what the mother said?
Just once. You will come through the gate.
This is my third successive January in the Sierra, but it's the first time I've ever been allowed up this far. Up to now, I've been kept in frontier regions, and all our filming so far has been in a frontier region. But up here, now we've crossed that bridge, we are in Kogi territory and about to enter a city, a large town at any rate, which has been occupied continuously since before the conquest, which is built on Tairona foundations, which is a functioning Tairona city. We are now entering the last functioning civilization of pre-Columbian America.
Bueno, entonces ya بعد جوجل فناك وقع بعد إيش بس إنك نحن تمام شخن تكن نتوكل نقدر إيش مدام كيف هو تفضل كي بس قد تقاس نقدر إنك من قبل ما تقول إنك أي ما إنك تمام إنك قدر قوي شقوا إنك خي يقول إنك أي دود شبان إنك نقاش منكو bueno entonces ya اسقط وقع هيدا مدام من دعوتي مدام شو تقول وتشان ما إنك جانك من قبل إنك يجي
The ordinary citizens were described to me as vassals. Their lives are ordered and directed by cabos, the city guards. They control what comes in from the outside. Iron tools are useful, but shoes would break the contact between people and the earth. Cabos are drawn from the vassals. They're appointed by the priests, the mamas. They take their orders from a commissioner, also appointed by the mamas. All, mamas, commissioners, and cabos, are confirmed by divination. This rigid society, in which every man must work when he's told to work, maintains the paths of its ancestors. Mama means the sun. The mamas are the enlightened ones. They watch over the community and maintain its purity. In each town there is a large house which only men may enter. This is the Nuhue, the world house. The thatched roof and palm leaf walls are replaced every few years, but a Nuhue has stood here for more than 1,000 years.
I'm here, we all are here to give a warning. I'm speaking on behalf of us all, to send out a message to all the younger brothers, and I'm going to have to say it in a way that they can understand. Not just a message for the men who've come, and whatever place, wherever it is they've come from. Not just for the men who've come. I want the whole world to listen to the warning that we speak to you.
She taught. The Great Mother taught. She taught us right and wrong. And still we have not given up living in the way and knowing right from wrong as she taught us. We remember her teaching and live by it. The Great Mother taught and taught. The Great Mother gave us what we needed to live, and her teaching has not been forgotten right up to this day. We all still live by it. But now they are taking out the mother's heart. They are digging up the ground and cutting out her liver and her guts. The mother is being cut to pieces and stripped of everything. From their first landing they have been doing this. The Great Mother too has a mouth, eyes and ears. They are cutting out her eyes and ears. If we lost an eye, we will be sad. So the mother too is sad, and she'll end, and the world ends, if you do not stop digging and digging.
Younger brother, we know that water down below has started drying up. Don't think that we are responsible. It's you. We are doing our work properly, and neither you nor us know when the world will end, isn't it so? So from today, stop digging into the earth and stealing the gold. If you go on, the world will end. You are bringing the world to an end.
Now I'm sending this message, and I ask, can they think, listening to this, that it must be us, the older brothers, who have destroyed everything? I know they won't think that. I want to give some advice to tell the real truth to the younger brother. If they go on like this and they don't change their ways at once, they'll see what will happen. They'll see what will happen. I don't know when the world will end, but their looting will destroy it. They've taken so much. They've taken the guardians of the sun and stars. The world will go black. Yes, what would they think if all we mamas died? Would they think? So what? What would they think? If that happened and all we mamas died and there was no one doing our work, well, the rain wouldn't fall from the sky. It would get hotter and hotter from the sky, and the trees wouldn't grow and the crops wouldn't grow. Or am I wrong and they would grow anyway?
Are we really meant to believe that the Kogi have been secretly taking care of the world for centuries? They believe it. They are the elder brothers. That's why they live the way they do. This boy of 18 is being initiated as a man. Dried leaves of the coca bush, tended and picked only by women, eaten only by adult men, will numb his mouth. There is powdered lime on the stick. He eats it and does not feel its burning heat. The lime activates chemicals in the leaf. They believe that natural coca civilizes men. The toasted leaf they chew is as far from refined cocaine as rye bread is from rye whiskey. It has been a food for thousands of years for Native Americans, giving them important vitamins and enabling them to endure long periods without food and sleep. Adult Kogis reckon their normal life expectancy as 90. The lime is kept in the poporo, the symbol of manhood. This gourd may look like a penis, but it represents a womb. They refer to it as both a safeguard and a woman. The lime-covered stick, representing the male part, is wiped on the top, building up a disc of hardened lime on the rim. Unbalanced masculinity, without this image of both sexes working together, would be dangerous. The poporo is the mark of civilization. Eating from it reminds a man of what he is and keeps him in harmony with the Great Mother.
Slowly bring it out, then suck it. And think of the Great Mother. Ask for your poporo in spirit. Concentrate, think about it. Ask for it. Ask with your mind. For the spirit guardians to grant these. The guardian of the poporo and of the stick, the guardian of the gourds.
Mama Bernardo comes from a long line of ancient priests. His father died in 1987, 102 years old.
You mustn't give up using the poporo and eating coca, now or in the future. Otherwise, you're not a man and can't be married. You should think about all this, about the poporo and what it means. It's a woman. Now that you can use it, you can take a wife. You can take a wife, but you've got to think carefully. When you were married and you have a woman, you have to look after her. You have to work for her. You mustn't ever hit her or mistreat her. At night, before you sleep, chew the leaf. Chew 4 times at least to help you think clearly. And think what you're going to do the next day. What things need to be done and how you're going to do them. Think it through.
Now he will be admitted for the first time to the Nuhue, the world house, where only men may gather. He will sit for 4 days and nights with his face to the wall. He will neither sleep nor eat. He must listen to the teaching of the town officials and elders.
Now, you're going to have to pay attention and think carefully about everything the mamas say. You must listen to their words, you must remember what they tell you, and you must think about it very carefully. And that way you will behave well. You can't just cut banana trees, you can't cut them, because banana trees are like your father, like your mother. You have to respect them as much as any person. You must be respectful. You shouldn't cut down mango trees, or avocado trees, or guayaba trees. Any growing tree is like a human being, and they hurt too, just like you were cutting off your own leg. Nor should you disturb stones.
Ramon Gil is the person who the Kogi are using to explain their teaching to the world outside. A full Indian, but only half Kogi, he can read and write Spanish. The mamas taught Ramon for 14 months and then sent him to communicate with us.
Humans need water. They have to have water to live. The earth is the same. It was made perfect by Saranqua, but now it is weak and diseased. The animals die, the trees dry up, people become ill. Many new illnesses will appear. There will be no cure or medicine for them. And the reason is that younger brother is violating fundamental principles continually, totally, drilling, mining, extracting petrol, minerals, stripping away the world. This is destroying all order and damaging the world. BBC, tell the younger brother, open your eyes. Hear the mama's law and story, learn how things really are.
In the beginning there was blackness, only the sea. In the beginning there was no sun, no moon, no people. In the beginning there were no animals, no plants, only the sea. The sea was the mother. The mother was not people. She was not anything. Nothing at all. She was when she was. Spirit. She was memory and possibility. She was a Luna.
We must explain these things. We shouldn't threaten or insult, but it's good that we speak.
We must show them how we work and how we offer our tribute to the Great Mother, so that they know that we are here working for the younger brother too.
The mamas work not only for the Kogis, but for all the people in the world. The mama stands up. The mama is not angry, not even with younger brother, although he did harm. The mama must look after younger brother and elder brother, and the animals, and the plants, and all that is natural. Because the mama has a duty to care for the future of all kinds of creatures, and all kinds of people.
The mamas want to teach us how the world was made. They say that we mutilate the world because we do not remember the Great Mother. She is not a distant god. She is the mind inside nature.
Where does the idea of Earth come from? Where do we get the idea of water? Why do we have a word for it? These things were conceived in the beginning, before the dawning. These were ideas, water and earth. We can only have ideas of things that have already been conceived in a luna. Before the dawning, before there was anything, we were conceived in the water of a luna. So were the trees, the mountains, everything.
And then the mother began to spin out her thoughts. She heaped up a spindle before the dawning, and the mother spun 9 worlds. She gave birth to 9 daughters. Each world had its own color, and she gave birth to sons, the lords of creation. One was Sarankwe, and then she wondered, how will we create a living thing? It was hard to understand how to make a human. The mother and her children had to think very hard. How does an eye work? How does a foot work? And when it was done, the 9th world was peopled. But this was before the dawning. There was still no people, no plants, no animals, no sun. Only the mother, only Aluna.
At the foot of the mountain, tomb robbers are plundering the graves of the Kogis' ancestors, the Tyronas.
Un hueso de Marta.
The jar is a womb of clay for the dead. This jar is over 1,000 years old. Even if it contains no grave goods, it will still be worth a lot of money.
¿Caracol? Sí, caracol. Burgao. Yeah.
Ahí, yo lo voy a jalar. Lo voy a llevar toda. Vamos a subirla. Ahora sí, Marta. Dale cuenta.
The shattered jar is of no interest at all. These men are not academic researchers. A tomb like this, exceptionally deep with stone walls like a well, will be torn to pieces. The smell of gold has become so strong. A year's hunting is coming to its climax.
The mother bled. She had her period. She was fertile, and the world was fertile. Her blood is gold. It remains in the earth. It is fertility. Gold and water, blood and water, are necessary for the life of all things. And then human beings were made to care for the living things, the plants, the animals. This is why people were made.
Oh, are you going to film me weaving again?
Yes, they've come to learn,
I'll explain.
So say 9 threads.
9 threads. Makes a block.
To make a cloth takes us almost a month.
We don't ask them how to weave, do we? We don't go over there and say, show us. If the cameraman breaks my shuttle, I'll hit him.
The diplomatic gentleman in the hammock, persuading a reluctant weaver to cooperate in filming, is Mama Juan Jacinto, a hereditary lord of the Kogi. The mamas are convinced that they have to make this film, but the vassals have been brought up to be suspicious of outsiders.
When you start to weave, you should concentrate on what you're doing and not let yourself be distracted by other things. So settle down, think hard, think about the cloth, because you are making the clothes that we wear. The cloth you make is an offering, and it says a great deal about what kind of man you are. Clothes speak to the fathers of the world, so you have to weave them well and carefully, thinking only of what they mean. The cross of the loom shows the beams linking the corners of the world. It is the cross which sustains the earth. The mother gave us a copy of this in the loom so that we would remember it.
The Great Mother told us what to put in the paparo. To put in here, we must go all the way to the sea and fetch shells for this gourd. We must never give this up.
Mama Fiscal is preparing to burn seashells to make lime. The mamas make occasional journeys to the beaches near Santa Marta to collect the shells. The uprights are called cabos, guards. They defend the order of things. All Kogi life is enclosed by this order. The floor of the Nuhue, the men's house, is the ninth world, the material world. The wooden guards in the house, supporting men's hammocks, suspend them between this world and others. These other worlds are seen in rings around the roof. At the center, everything descends from the cross beams on which the universe was built. This order is built into the fire. 9 shells for the 9 worlds, the 9 children of the Great Mother. Once the shells have been burned, Mama Fiscal and his wife, who is also a mama, prepare them for the poporo.
My wife and I now bless the shells while putting them into this gourd and pouring water into it. When you're doing this work, preparing the shells, you shouldn't be using the paparo and you should not be thinking about anything else at all. The Great Mother told us that we should never quarrel with women and we must always treat them well. Because women, the mother, taught us this. Now, put it in the pot, and when it's gone in, you can add the water to it. There.
He has explained everything. You should be thinking how it was that the mother gave it to us in the beginning. The mother gave these things to me, too. I still know. I haven't forgotten what the mother taught. And the younger brother mustn't think that women don't know. I am a mama. I know how to give a boy his poporo.
The water reacts with the calcified shell.
But Mama says in our history, Mama says that here in this land, there was only and everywhere throughout the land the elder brother, all following the words of the Mama, and knowing all that a payment must be made for whatever we take from the land. This applies to everything. Not even the air we breathe, nor the water we drink, for all of it, of nature or machines, when you take, you make a payment.
But then Sarankwe created a younger brother. He didn't listen. He did not understand. He would dig in the earth, tear at the earth, wound the mother. And Sarankwe said, "We will send him away. We will make a division. The sea. The elder brother here in the heart of the world. The younger brother there, across the sea, where he will not harm the heart of the world." And he was given knowledge of machines and sent away.
The sugar press, like the sugar cane they grow and the horses and cattle they keep, had no place in the world of their ancestors. All these things came when the younger brother crossed the ocean to return, as the Kogi believed, to this original Eden. The sea, which the Indians believed gave birth to all life, had kept them apart from Europe's iron kingdoms. But the sea carried ships. They landed in 1514, and their commander had a document read out on the beach.
I assure you that with the help of God, I will make war on you in every place and in every way that I can. And I will subject you to the yoke and obedience of the Church and their highnesses. And I will take your persons and your women and your children, and I will make them slaves. I will take your goods, and I will do you all the evils and harms which I can.
They found a well-paved road leading to a city. Today, the ruins of this coastal city are called Pueblito. Mama Valencia is the mama who remembers history.
People used to live in peace all over this land. We, the older brother, had no problems with the younger brother at all. Always in peace, in peace, in peace. That's how it was. And then he arrived. Younger brother arrived, and he started to kill us and to destroy. They set dogs on us, and we were terrified, and the people panicked and didn't know what to do and just ran wherever they could. That's how it was. Our bags as we ran and scattered everywhere. Falling, scattered. Our finest things. And when we stopped and we looked, hey, everything was gone. Nothing left.
Mama Valencia's account of what happened here when the Spanish first came is fully backed up by the chronicles. In fact, the 5,000 or so people that lived here continued to live here after the Spanish arrived, and it wasn't until the end of the 16th century that relations finally broke down to such a point that the city was wiped out. The Spanish settled on the coast and used Indians to work their farms. They demanded gold, and the Indians gave it. And when the Indians ran away and went up to the mummers in the mountain to escape, the mummers gave them more gold and said, "Give it to the Spanish and go back to work. Because without the fish and salt that you send from the coast, the rest of the Sierra cannot live." The Spanish squeezed the Indians ever harder. But in 1600, after nearly a century of coexistence, a new governor in Santa Marta provoked a major uprising. He presented the destruction of the Tairona as a moral crusade with the utterly bizarre conviction that they were all homosexual. Spanish men spent a lot of time together, whether they were soldiers, sailors, or members of one of the many religious orders. It was commonly assumed in Spain that men who spent nights together would do abominable things if it was not for the restraint of Christian morals. The Niue, where men talk and sleep in the city, was called in Spanish the house of the devil. Earlier Spanish conquistadors had Indians thrown to the dogs for supposed acts of sodomy. The new governor said it justified war on the whole Tairona culture. The balanced pattern of life in the Sierra collapsed as tens of thousands of refugees fled up the mountain. Most died of starvation.
We lived in peace over this whole land, and I ask myself now, how could they have come here? How could they have done these terrible things? They made us run away and hide. We ran into the mountains. We were so terrified of their dogs and their guns. And they chased us and chased us and chased us and stole our land. And when I think that they came here only to kill us, to destroy. No, it's unbelievable. They stole from us. They took our land so that they could live here. Wasn't that how it was?
The refugees fled to smaller cities high in the mountain. These were the sacred cities of the mummers, and gradually the mummers established a new way of life for the survivors. The Indians had learned from the Spanish to grow new crops and to keep farm animals. This meant they could create a stable, self-sufficient refuge, and they have kept control here ever since.
Behind me is a rectangular building which missionaries put up as a church, and here, in the middle of the town square, there's a cross. It's not a museum. It has been changed by the outside world, but what's remarkable about the Kogi is that they've decided what to accept and what to reject. They allowed the missionaries to come, but there's never been a single Christian convert. They accept iron tools, machetes, spades, but they refuse to wear our kind of clothing, and they refuse to accept writing. They refuse to accept anything which would damage the organization and the spiritual and intellectual ideas that control their world.
The Kogi are farmers like their ancestors. Husband, wife and children maintain a number of farms in different zones on the mountain, growing a variety of crops. Most of the time the towns are deserted. Everyone is on their farms. The mummers do not permit fields of a single crop. Farms must be carefully balanced plots. The family are clearing the undergrowth for new planting under the trees. Beans are being planted close to the farmhouse. Only women may do this. It's part of the relationship between the mother of a family and the Mother Earth. They insist that the secret of fertility does not simply lie in knowing how to plant and harvest.
Everything we plant must be blessed. They must be helped to grow. Beans, corn, they all have guardians. Fruit trees too. They all have guardians. They all have guardians. We must ask the guardians' permission. If we didn't do that, then if crops aren't blessed, how can they grow properly? They dry up and rot without it. That's how it is.
A family farm always has two houses, one for the man and a separate one where the women and children live. Babies are conceived in the fields, never in a house.
So we take the children to the mama so that he blesses them. And then he'll look after them and take care of their health and spirit. And when the children get sick, you have to take them to be healed. You bring them to the mamas so that they concentrate and cure the children, make them better. That way all the children get to know the mamas. We take them to the mamas to get cured, and sometimes they're not cured, and they die, and then we cry and cry.
The mamas tune themselves to Aluna, the inner reality of the world. And they have a very different kind of upbringing, from infancy. They're selected by divination and taken away. Mama Bernardo started his education late.
I'll tell you what it's like. When I began my education, I was only a boy, this big, up to here. I was just a child. They brought me up and they trained me to be a mama. 9 years. That's how long it took, my training. 9 years. And at the end of that, it was done. I was ready. But really, to tell you the truth, to pass on the teaching really properly and do it really well, to do it in the right way, you take a baby, best a baby from the moment that it's born. Then you take it away and you keep it in a new way. To make a mama like they used to, then you have to take the child as soon as it's born, and from then on you keep it shut away.
The child is sometimes educated in a specially built house, sometimes in a cave. It learns to meditate on the Great Mother and on other spirits who come from the Mother, the guardians of all living things. These must be helped and cared for because they nurture the world. They must be given nourishment, represented by offerings of fragments of thread and leaf and stone.
You have to take this little baby and you wash it in a stone grinding trough, swirling the water, making it pure to wash the baby. And when it's washed, then you have to shut it away where it's in the dark, completely in the dark. Dark, that means you shouldn't even light a fire, no light. It should see nothing in the dark, all alone. And in a house nearby, there lives its mother, and she feeds it, she gives it milk. But at night, she can't come in the light. And then she feeds it with milk from her breast. Then she goes away again. The mother mustn't eat any food with the blood of an animal. And that means she mustn't eat any chicken or anything that comes from pigs, no beef. Her food must all be white. White beans, white potatoes, white snails, right? It must all be white, white, white.
Enina, Castellete, Enina, Pagamento, Plata, la princesa casar. Ama ganyi kutong, haba mikisajin ganyi kutong, ni haba ki ganyi kisalato. Nung kamangko nagkikimangko talakoy ni amagkansya. Wala na ki. Butsiga ka. Kung sino ka ako ni kunukak. Kaji ka wa. Habang ko na magsaralaga sa kiyawat. Skawat. Kagwanin ka.
In a sense, the student mama has been kept in a second womb. To 9 months have been added 9 years. Old wise men came into the dark speaking of mountains and birds and animals which could only be imagined. What must it be like to emerge into the light? For all his life, the child has known the world only as an idea. His physical senses have been kept alive, but only just. Just enough light to avoid blindness, just enough food to avoid starvation. But no meat, no salt, only lukewarm water to drink. And now, in place of the world he has imagined, he sees the world created by the Great Mother. He could not have imagined the grandeur or the detail. What a power there is in the mind of the Great Mother to conceive all this. And this power has been shaped in so many ways, so many forces. A vibrant, powerful dance has been shaped, the dance of life. He has been told of it, but he must be dazed by it for the rest of his life. The mama has to work in a world visible only to the mind's eye, the world of Aluna. The offerings he learned to make in the dark are now made in the light of day, creating harmony in the spirit world and in this one. The stone paths of the ancestors are traces of the spirit paths which the mamas walk, in a space we do not understand. These are the paths on the mapstone. They do not match the material pathways. They're lines of thought, not lines on the ground. But there were points where the two worlds used to meet. At these sacred places, gold was hung from the trees. Immortal gold carried the mystery of life from Aluna into matter. Humans could make this journey by meditating on the gold and dancing with it. And body ornaments of gold helped humans play their part in the dance of life. Today, these objects sit in museum displays, without meaning and without function. We know nothing about them.
Down below by the sea there were the gold guardians. The guardians of yucca and of the trees. All the trees and all the birds were there in the ground. They cut the earth, dug them out. They must stop doing it. Must stop doing it.
We once had golden bowls for divination, gold images, gold oracles, all these things. We prophesied with gold. We had many things. Younger brother took it all. So now we sorrow, we're weak, and see the earth is decaying, it is losing its strength because of your greed. You take gold and all the minerals out of the earth.
In London or New York, it's worth at least $20,000. It's an investment. The fingers that dig are Colombian, but they are powered by the market forces that drive us all. The Kogi believe that the sacred network that keeps the earth in balance is being torn to shreds. In desperation, they had to find a way to warn us. That was why Ramon was told to learn Spanish.
You understand, we always had our own organization here, comisarios, mama, cabo. But the older brother, to consult or to present our problems before the government, and to get them to help the community of indigenous Kogi, that needed a new organization. So we set up the organization Gonavindua Tairona, so that we could be heard by the younger brother, and so that he would respect us, because before, in the conquest, he did not respect us.
One of their messages was that they should be given back control of their ancient sites, and that archaeologists too should stop digging up the lost city. Ramon came down from the mountain and gave the Mama's message to the Colombian government, and they obeyed. Today, the Kogi are moving back into the cities of their ancestors.
They consider this as the center of the world, and it is what we might call a whole integrated organism, if one wishes to call it, and each site is part of this organism. And it's the interrelation of these sites that keeps the world in harmony. And it is the duty of the Mamas to see that the world remains in harmony. This is the way they consider that they are responsible for the harmony of the world. Now, if you take out one of these sites, or if you excavate, and you take out what is buried in these sites, you're taking out the fundamental energy. And by taking out the fundamental energy, you're taking a part out of the whole, out of the system. And therefore the Kogis cannot be responsible, cannot handle the harmony of the world anymore. And that's why they consider fundamental that each part be integrated into the whole. Now what's interesting is that it's when the Kogis explained this to the government, the people that insisted most was the special office in the presidents, the special advisor of the presidents for the peace process in Colombia, those that are dealing with the guerrillas. It was the head of the peace process that said, look, if we're looking for peace in the country, and they're looking for harmony, we must listen to their way of finding harmony, and therefore the site must be returned to them.
So Gonavindua is now growing, and it ought to grow, so that everyone in the world, both internationally and here in this nation, will show respect to the organization Gonavindua, and will not disturb any more the native Kogi, the Mama Kogi. Because when the Mama is concentrating deeply, he doesn't like to hear the sound of airplanes. He doesn't like to look up because he has to concentrate steadily for 9 days. He concentrates without eating anything. But nowadays this sort of thing can't be done.
This was the site of a sacred freshwater lake. It was drained to build a power station. And here the Kogi have come to try to restore harmony to a shattered world, to struggle to give back its balance. They have to restore harmony over the whole Sierra, the heart of the world. While offerings are made down at the sea, others are making them high on the cold peaks above. As they approach the ocean, they turn, recalling the spindle from which the original thread was spun, and to which they still cling.
Because you take out so much gasoline and minerals, the earth is becoming steadily weaker. And so the mama has been thinking, what can we do to make sure that the younger brother fully understands? Because the mama says that it's very difficult for the younger brother to listen well and to hear. But it will be even harder for him to give things up. But he's going to have to learn. Younger brother must listen carefully to the history of the mama, the law of the mama, the beliefs of the mama.
Why are the Kogis so sure that the earth is in danger? The answer is high on the mountain peaks. This is the most sacred land of all. The mamas did not forbid me to go, but they did avert their eyes. But I had to come, because here is the source of their terror.
This is our last day in the Sierra, and it's the highest point that we're going to reach. This is the tundra, what they call the paramo. To the Kogi, this is the most sacred place of all, because this is what fertility depends on. The most important payments that they make to the soil are the ones which are carried down from here to the sea, and from the sea back up here. They mirror a natural exchange, a water cycle on which the whole fertility of the Sierra depends. This is where the rivers are born, as meltwater from the snow and the glaciers flow down to the sea through the forests and jungle. And that water comes back in the form of clouds, whose water is deposited here again. The whole life of the Sierra depends on this region. Around here, it's yellow. It should be green. These little bushes once covered the whole area. Now, they're perishing. The water has gone. The paramo is drying out. The snow is retreating very rapidly. When the Kogi talk about the heart of the world dying, what's frightened them is the death of this area, the paramo, because when this dies, everything below it that depends on it will have to die. That's what they mean when they say that they know that unless we do something, the world is coming to an end.
It is the mountains which make the waters, the rivers and the clouds. If their trees are felled, they will not produce any more water.
The Sierra is a model of the world. Global warming does not stop here. We are changing the air and the sky and the balance of life.
They have taken the clouds from the paramo. They have sold the clouds. We know what is happening, and we're all in agreement. The world does not have to end. If we act well, the world can go on.
We are going to close the bridge now, but we want younger brother to know that he can't come here again. He can't come back. We are putting a barrier here so that he respects us, understands. We don't want him coming up here and interfering with us. He has destroyed so much. Does he see? No. Understand? No. Start to understand, or what will happen? Right, that's it.
No,